Here.
Gentlemen of the board, you have the minutes in front of you for the June 13th, 2023 meeting. You take a moment to look through. Motion second to accept the minutes. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Okay, Denise, your treasurer's report now.
Balance in the general fund as of July 6th, $470,970.58. Balance in the sewer fund as of July 6th, $606,987.38.
Any questions for the treasurer? Is there a motion to accept the report? Motion to report, second. Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Did everybody get a copy of the
Yes.
okay. For folks, you do have the sewer report in front of you, 33 days. Total reading of 26, 31, 37, 600. Total flow 86, 36, 600. For an average flow of 26, 244, 417 kilowatts. There's no comments in regards to that. There are those numbers. Anything else before we go to old business? Old business, the first point of old business is the replacement of Mr. Peak, who has retired, or resigned, retired. You have in front of you 6 people who have expressed interest, and what they have, some points of their credentials that they wanted us to consider. Each one of those have been checked by the clerk's office and are as required residents and voters within Green Township. So that everybody understands the way the law reads, upon acceptance of a resignation or the death of a board member, the board has 45 days in which to replace that person, appoint a replacement. If that person is not replaced in 45 days, the clerk is required to notify the county clerk, who will then schedule a general election. 99.9% of the time, in fact, I don't know of any time it's gone to election anywhere in our county. Our board's done it a couple of times. I know McCosta Township, I believe Chippewa and Martini have all done it within that 30 days as a replacement. This meeting is within that 30 days. Just this information is on the sheet for the board, and I will read it off. It is the directions, recommendations of the Michigan Township Association. The question presented to them was how do we choose the appointee. The Township Board can appoint anyone who is eligible to hold elective office. Basically, any person who's registered to vote and a resident of the township for at least 30 days. The board is not required to advertise for the vacancy nor solicit resumes. By doing so, may attract larger, more capable pool of candidates. The township board does not consider a slate of candidates. Instead, the first person nominated who receives a second and a majority vote of the board members present and voting is the appointee. All interviews conducted by the township board and any action taken by the board to shorten the list of candidates must be done in open session, a public board meeting. As always, the vote to appoint must be a voice vote, not a paper or secret ballot. For the board, you have that list of 6 people. If anyone wishes to speak in any way, the board, now's the time. If you have questions of any of those people, I believe pretty much all are here, or you have a preference, or whatever, that now's the time. Yeah, you can, yeah, if you're going to go down through, you're going to ask questions equally, but, or if somebody wants to make a motion, we can do that, whatever. It is open on how that is done.
Well, I'd like to ask the people who, Dan, Richard, Stephen, and Martin, Sarah, also why they want to be a board member.
We're going right down to it alphabetically. Dan, you're on the list first. Would you like to answer that question? Why do you want to be a board member?
I've always been involved in kind of the leadership role. I know being a board member is not necessarily leadership, it's representation, but you're representing the other people here in the township. With the experiences I've had traveling around the world, I can do very good township.
Thank you. You want to go around down the list? Is that what you wanted? Okay, Dick, are you here?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead.
Well, I've been involved in public work most of my life, either through Boy Scouts, through civic organizations. I was village president of Hershey for 8 or 10 years, and I just believe that a public person's civic duty to do. I'm a lifelong resident. I was born and raised here, lived away for about 30 years, moved back about 10 years ago. And I'm interested in how local government operates.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay, thank you. Steve Lowry. I am a 51-year practicing veterinarian. I've started 9 practices. I've worked with zoning issues. I've worked with community in this realm only from the other side. I haven't needed to be behind a desk, but in this setting, I would like to be somebody with a personality that has compassion, at the same time intellect, and I would like to be able to use that to help build this township with opinions and ideas, not in conflict. I know we went through this before, but that isn't my point, but rather in input to all of us so that we can have different ideas for our particular zone here. And so I'm not afraid of, you all know that I'm the other side of this whole petition issue, but I'm the only rational one in the group. I'm Jack, I joke about that. But no, I really am. And the whole point is comedy is a good thing, and I could bring it to your whole group, and we would have not fun, we would have ideas that are different than just yours, Jim. Let's put it that way. You know, because you're the boss.
All right, go ahead, Mark.
Well, I'm a resident of Green Township for the last 25 years, and I'm interested in the future of our community. I'd like to see the best things for our community happen, and I just want to be a part of it. I know a lot of decisions are going to be made, and I just want to be a part of it.
Thank you. Sarah?
Hello. Sarah Rasmussen, I am of Green Township. I just want to be more with Ferris, so I just want to be more involved in our community and be open-minded about it.
Thank you. Russ?
I'm a Green Township citizen. I've been here since '78. Worked in Big Rapids for 18 years as a union rep. Leadership is something we learn, and I'd like to see the future keep me shaped here, and I think I'd be a candidate.
Thank you. George Wood. That's up to you. If that's what you want to do. You're welcome to do so.
I will make a nomination for Sarah Rasmussen.
So the motion for putting forward Sarah Rasmussen's name, is there a second to that motion?
I'll support.
Motion and support. Is there discussion? Okay, roll call.
Jim Joseph. Janet Clark. Yes. Jim Chapman.
Yes.
Denise McFarland.
Yes.
Gary Todd. Roger Carroll.
Vote being 4-2, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, then I'll add the word description, then Ms. Rasmussen, you will be completing the, come up and join us, you'll be completing the term of Jim T. through,
She'll be gone this year.
The next point on the agenda is the library discussion, and the city is insistent that they are due 3/10 of a mil for their library. We've talked to them. The only apparent condescension would be that they're willing to accept the penal fines as part of that. As you can see on the paperwork provided to you, the city received $7,955 in penal fines. 3/10 of a mil in our township would be $32,325 total. You take penal fines and subtract it, and I did it for both Big Rapids and Reed City libraries. My point of view is if we're going to collect township money, then we split it equally, because our by that formula we've used in the past, a 2/3, 1/3 formula, because that's where our population split. There's only a third of our township that calls Reed City home and Reed City school system home, and so that's the reason I continue with this example for that split. There doesn't seem to be any room for any discussion with the city of Big Rapids with their library system. We are currently, by their figures, we have 263 township members that have cards. With Big Rapids Library, there are 45 people who have cards with Reed City Library. By law, we cannot impose millage for a library. The law states that any library funding shall be on a vote of the people. I don't know where that would go, but what I'm asking is permission, as you can see in the blue, permission to work with the attorneys to draft a resolution that allows people to vote for 2/10 of a mil for 5 years to be split on that 2/3, 1/3 formula between the two libraries. The 2/10 of a mil and penal fines will come within a certain amount, when close to that 3/10 of a mil, and I believe everybody would probably accept that. But I can, if the board wishes, I can contact our attorney and work on that language, and we can have that done by August 1st meeting, and then have that on November ballot. I would need a motion to give me permission to work with the attorney on doing that, yes. Is there a second to the motion?
No support.
Motion and support to authorize the supervisor to work with our attorney to generate that ballot proposal as a discussion. Yeah, we might as well. Then we're, I don't know if that is roll call or not, but I'd rather err on the side of caution. Go ahead.
Okay, Rasmussen.
Yes.
Jernstedt.
Yes.
Clark. Yes. Chapman.
Yes.
McFarland.
Yes.
Todd.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
All right, thank you. We had talked of holding off for as long as we could on a decision on the roads, but Gary made the point that he thought we needed to look at that, and the road commission is pushing us for a decision. What you have in front of you is the 3 projects we looked at. Graveling 20-mile road from Northland Drive to 131 freeway for $33,200. Graveling 230th and 22 miles of East for $51,100. And the last project is a overlay on 205th and Hoover to Indian Drive for $150,400. So,
I think that's the county.
How long is that to a bit? Just over a mile?
yeah, I believe so, yeah. Gary, that's about a little over a mile. Okay.
The road commission can get it done at this.
Yes, if we get this contract to them, and if the board wishes me to, I can sign it and get it to them tomorrow.
How thick of an overlay they put down?
They're saying 2 inches.
Anything that'll last?
They're estimating, depending on weather and conditions and so on, they're estimating that would be 10 to 20 years. They have had success going back in a couple years after its installation for a quick coating on top of it, but that will be a decision for us to consider 2-3 years down the road. That they have had luck, I should finish my sentence, they've had good luck of extending the life of blacktop in that way. I talked to John Curry about that a few months ago. And he said what they told him that way.
I have a question.
Yeah.
That's pertaining to the gravel road. Is that correct that the council came with a third grinding for all townships?
At least one, whole grinding for all townships.
Yes. Yeah, so that would help these gravel sidewalks.
Gravel also this year? Oh, that's
My thought.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll make a motion, go ahead. Would road commission pay Hoover to Indian Drive?
Okay.
Hoover to Indian Drive.
Go to the Hoover Indian Drive. Okay? Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Motion second to authorize overlay from, on 205th from Hoover Indian Drive. Discussion. Roll call.
Rasmussen. Yes. Sternstedt. Clark. Yes. Chapman.
Yes.
McFarland.
Yes.
Todd.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other motions on this issue? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to the next one. What you have in front of you is the official recommendation of wording for the referendum for November. Now, I don't think you guys got to sign one. There is a signed one, the official one from the clerk. The clerk has certified that there were the required 133 valid signatures received regarding petition to initiate the referendum. The referendum states, be it resolved, the Green Charter Township Board approves the following stated referendum for ballot proposal and language for submission to the township voters on November 7, 2023 election as follows. On April 14, ordinance number 012023 to provide for the powers, duties, limitations of that planning commission and to repeal any ordinance or parts of ordinance or resolutions in conflict with this ordinance. Now, you can see that then that would be on the ballot. That is the wording that's provided for us by our attorney, and it would require a roll call vote. Is there a second? Okay. Discussion. Okay, roll call.
Rasmussen. Yes. Sternstedt. Clark. Yes. Chapman.
Yes.
McFarland.
Yes.
Todd.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any other old business that I missed? Anything for the board? Okay? New business. The first one is just a reminder that because of the August, what is it, 7th or 8th, whatever, it's August 8th election next month. This board meeting is, as approved by the board last month, this meeting will be moved to August 1st at 7 p.m. here at the hall, unless otherwise posted. That doesn't require a motion, that's merely a reminder. The next one is Janet's request. I'll let her explain.
Yes, because our election is on the 8th, and our board meeting is before that.
Roll call.
Rasmussen. Yes. Clark. Yes. Sternstedt.
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
McFarland. Todd. Carroll.
Yes.
The next question is email options. We signed up for, you got, all right, our email hosting platform is eHost. It has been for many, many years. Bob Baldwin set it up through them. They've done it fine for us. Steve, we haven't had any problem with them, have we? Okay. What we set up was that first category, and we've been paying what the current rate is $264, unlimited number of addresses and 15 gig of storage. Problem is with this winter, summer, etc. project, mainly the battery plant and other issues, our volume has gone up, and there is no indication that it's going to go down anywhere in the near future. We're at, correct me, Steve, 14 and a half gig right now.
Over 15.
We're over 15 now. Okay, we're at 14.9. The contract came up the first of the month, and we had to renew it. I authorized the renewal of it at the next up rate so we can be protected. We have to store all emails indefinitely by law, and so we renewed at the $320 a year, 20 gig rate. We'll top, that was just a fail-safe, we'll top that on. In not very long. You said we're well over 15 now, right? Okay. Our next step up then would be 40 gig at $600, or if we wanted their big one, it is 120 gig at $1,200. So we're trying to find out a way to save money. They have a program where a company can buy, correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, a company such as ISI can contract as an enterprise one and then turn around and sell service to other companies using eHost as a background. ISI informs me they can do that for $600 a year and get the 120 gig. And so what they have offered to do is go that way, charge us the $600, which is break even for them. It saves us another $600 a year, and public-private cooperative that leaves them available to sell all their services to other people, and that's their business, and so we both come ahead. We have to upgrade. We can look and see how long that 20 gig lasts. We can upgrade to the 40 or the 60, 40 and see how long that lasts, or we can go right straight to the 120. See, you got something else to contribute? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to add, that's going to grow real quick because you need to put all your trustees on the email server, not going to personal emails for township.
Well, also, if this township grows or we add other departments, the planning commission has already appointed discussion. Those are all new email addresses and new volume generators. So that, I can tell you flat out that 20 gig is not the last one. So we have to decide what to do. Our annual right now went from 264 to 320 in order to get that, in order to avoid being shut down because we went over capacity. My suggestion to the board is that we go to the 600 and get it done now. $600 a year, correct? Steve? Yes. The 20 is going, we're going to top out the 20 because we've already topped the 15. We're going to top out the 20. The next step is 40 at 608. We might as well get the 120 at 600 because it's the same price either way. Steve, you want to explain what the enterprise thing is?
Basically, what it is, we buy, ISI buys an enterprise hosting package, which entitles us to be able to resell off of their server at a fixed price. What we would do is we would buy that, we're basically buying a server from them, or leasing a server from them for this purpose that allows us to resell it. What we're offering you is the 120 gig that you can lease that server at $1,200. We're offering it to you with the wholesale cost, our cost, at $600 to be able to help the township out. And if we do that, just so you know, your email server will be moved from Toronto, Canada to Wisconsin.
Back inside the United States.
We won't notice any difference.
No, you won't see any difference.
Our email addresses don't change, our response doesn't change, our incoming, outcoming, nothing changes. Is that what I'm hearing?
That is correct.
Okay.
It will be a seamless move from your eyes. It will just be a lot of work on the back end.
So if you guys are keeping track, we can cross out that 15 gig because we've already exceeded that. I cross out that 1,200 a year, okay? Because there's no sense paying 1,200 when we get the same thing for 600. And then we can cross out the 608 because there's no sense of paying 608 for 40 when we pay 600 for 120. And so the question is, do we want to see how long this 20 gig lasts at 320 or go ahead and go to 120 for 600? Those are the two options. Yeah, we're going to need a
I'll
motion.
move that we move to $600, 120 gig.
Contracting with ISI.
ISI.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion? Motion and support to contract with ISI for 120 gig storage and unlimited email addresses at $600 a year. Is there any discussion?
Now, when it comes time to renew, I assign this all that, or?
Yes, we simply have a contract with ISI and they bill us yearly, like eHost has been. Discussion, questions? Oh, it's funny, so roll call. Roll call.
Rasmussen?
No.
Joseph?
Yes.
Clark, yes. Chapman?
Yes.
Carly?
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
Carol?
Okay, the pancake breakfast, we have in the past, and some of you may know it, some of you may not, this board out of their own pocket, we cannot spend township money, so this is a question of our personal money, not township. But out of our personal pockets, we have funded, for the last, 3 years, I think, a pancake breakfast for township residents on Labor Day down at the Stone Hatchery Park. For the board. The question is, do we want to do it again this year? We are looking at some price increase. We just did, I had Kim go do a fast and dirty estimation. Down quite a little bit. The sausage links are up, but that was Enbridge out of Meyer and Eagles has always been very generous with helping us out, so that price is probably, and that price I listed is probably excessive. I expect that to go down.
Yeah, if the board chooses to do that, ISI donate $100 and contribute to help put on their performance.
Oh. Okay, thank you. Denise, do I understand we have some carryover too? $200? So that's 3 out of the 6. So that'll have things down probably about 40, I'm guessing 40. What's your guys' pleasure? What would you like to do? You want to do the breakfast again?
Yes.
We'll put you to work too. Janet, you can talk to Janet, she's a queen of scrambled eggs. Okay. Okay, this isn't a motion, this isn't an action of the township, specific of that of the members, and it's strictly volunteer, so that, so the 100% consensus, we don't need to take a vote. What else are we missing, guys, on, any other new business? I got it. Any other new business to cover? Yes, sir. Labor Day morning. Break 2 days early. What do we usually start? Yes, because of, go ahead.
Yeah, on cleanup day, we had 3 fire motors that was pushing the crashed into those dumpsters.
Yeah.
And for the previous years, we did compensate those lower vehicles $100 per load.
Okay.
We still have money in the budget for junk case, so we got 3 of them that day. I think we should create it.
M&M provided,
The labor and with the vehicle. So,
M&M Lawn Care provided 2 of those front-end loaders. Referendum Farms provided 1. What's the thoughts of the board? More motion. Yeah, I think we did it last. Yeah, yeah. I had to buy diesel loaded in Buddy's tractor. Ouch.
If we did have those, that would be absolutely impossible to load those dumpsters.
Yeah, one for Referendum Farms and M&M, we did that, correct?
Yep, still.
And there's still money in the budget.
There's no money in the budget to cover.
yes.
I'll make a motion that we spend $300 on the help that we got from M&M and Church.
Is there a second?
I'll support.
Okay, hold on. Sure said Farms and Sure and Dale's on there. We just hold it, and I will make a motion to the board to motion to the board to authorize, and we have to do it this way because it's a charter of the township. Motion to the board to allow Dale Durstead to abstain from the vote in regards to compensation on the front end loader. That's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll support.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Rasmussen.
Yes.
Abstain. Clark, yes.
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
McFarland.
Yes.
Todd.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Okay, there's that abstention. Now, back to the original motion, that's good for the board. The motion is to compensate each front-end loader $100 for a total of $300, $200 to go to M&M, lawn care $100 to go to Jernstein Farms. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Rasmussen.
Yeah.
Clark, yes. Chapman.
Yes.
McFarland.
Yes.
Todd.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Any other new business? Okay. FYIs, got a couple, 3 things. One, John, Gary, you asked about Crapo. I called John and talked to him. He said he'd get back to me. Apparently, he got back today. He's going to get to it as he can, but he intends to 15,000 plus 1,000. 15 to 16. Okay. Okay, which is pretty close to what we've been paying for the others. All right? Okay, so there's, and he'll get to it as he can, so we can get that last cemetery covered. Other question was in regards to the dealing with MDOT and the easement, the land underneath it. I sent a message to Dawn, I forget what Dawn's last name is, Ben Hulse, and she said she's answered me back on the 10th. Hi Jim, I spoke with our appraisal unit and they're planning to have the appraisal complete by the end of this month. Once I have the evaluation, I'll let you know. In the meantime, please reach out if you have any questions. So hopefully by August, and surely by September, we will have their estimate on the cost on that easement so that we can get that off the books. And that's the last impediment to going after grants to put in the pedestrian walkway across Paris Creek. FYI. The other thing is to let you know what happened today. International contingent of board members for Gotion Inc. was in the area. They toured the property, 18 Mile and 220 this morning. believe they met with some officials at Ferris, and then hosted a luncheon in Grand Rapids before returning. They reviewed the site, and as I shoot this, they were very favorable and ready to move forward. I talked to the CEO and the CTO, I guess. That also, the luncheon today included a number of community leaders from, oh dear Lord, from the county, from the city, from area industry, community leaders, business leaders, and so on. And so there was some, no official discussion there, but they did reaffirm their intention to come here. I also spoke with the vice president of Gotion, North America, Mr. Thalen. He had toured a similar plant in China. So what they're talking about bringing to us, he reaffirmed their intention of doing that. At one point, he did observe over there, and he wanted to point out, we've seen the figures of 715,000 gallons a day drawn. That was based, he believes, by the engineers on the draw at the Chinese plant. When he looked at it, what he found was cost effectiveness for them was to use total evaporation and release the moisture into the air. He looked at that and felt that, and said, in fact, said he commits to it, that they will be looking at a reclamation system here in the United States, that instead of releasing that steam out into the air for dissipation, they'd be reclaiming as much as they can and reusing it, which should significantly reduce the amount of water drawn from the well. He doesn't have a number. He says that the engineers have to look at it. That's just what he saw, and what he intends, and what he's committed to do for us. That was the only changes I had. I don't know what happened today. Okay? All right. Any FYIs I missed, please? Okay. All right. There's nothing further under that. We'll go to the budget. First off, the budget amendments. We have them in front of you. If you'd like to take a look.
I'll make a motion that for returning contract service cleanup day, $3,700.
Support. Motion and support to amend the budget of $3,700 for contract service occurrences cleanup day to adjourn. Discussion. Roll call.
Rasmussen.
Yeah.
Jefferson.
Yes.
Clark, yes. Chapman.
Yes.
Farley.
Yes.
Todd.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Is there a motion to pay the bills? Is there a second? Motion and second to pay the bills. Discussion. Roll call.
Rasmussen.
Yeah.
Jefferson.
Yes.
Clark, yes. Chapman.
Yes.
Farley.
Yes.
Todd. Carroll.
Yes.
Before I conclude that and going on, we'll speak of one thing to the folks. With Ms. Rasmussen joining us as a board trustee, she is no longer eligible to serve on the board of review. So we will be needing to appoint somebody to do board review. If there's somebody from the township, we won't do it tonight. All right, we got no other going on, but after tonight, if there's somebody that's interested in serving on the board review, we'd appreciate a phone call here at the office and let me know next month we're gonna have to appoint you. Sarah, we got enough. We got enough of the alternate to be able to run this one
Yeah.
without you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. If anybody's interested in serving board review, please, after tonight, tomorrow sometime, or this week, whatever, give us a call, we appreciate it. Okay? Don't miss anything. All right. Yeah, we'll do that first. Ben, you got a list, or Paul, you got a list? Okay. As always, folks, we do, the number is under 60, therefore each person will be allowed 3 minutes. I normally put a timer at 2:45. That is merely a call for people to summarize. And then we can finish it up, okay? I did have one comment after the meeting last month that they felt like they let that run too long, was distracting. If that was, I apologize for coming in. Okay? All right. Once again, folks, we do ask, we have a number of people here with a number of different opinions, concerns, and so on. We ask everybody to be respectful of each other's opinions. Randy, we usually allow our representative of the county commission first. I guess that's you.
Thank you. Just a quick note, the county commission had passed out the marijuana excise tax money to the people that had submitted requests. Commission on Aging got for delivery vehicles, garage upgrade and the pavilion enclosures. The Hope Network Free Medical Clinic was awarded outreach program and testing. Sheriff's Office was given funding for continuation of the K-9 fund and a new hovercraft for the county. The other one is in a state of disrepair and not usable. Parks Commission got an additional funding for finishing the Dragon Trail. The Culp Drain from the Drain Commissioner got their money for completion of the Culp Drain. Road Commission was given enough money to do the entire county, all of the townships for the brine program, one application. The youth ag funding for the fairground improvements was funded. Barreton Area Mobile Food Pantry, Mecosta Area Historical Museum Roof Project was partially funded. Retired Senior Volunteer Program, Artworks After School Program, the Sisters of Sobriety, and Habitat for Humanity. And that was $881,000, leaving a balance of $301,000, and that was out of $2.1 million of requests. It didn't take long. I wish we had about double of that. But again, pretty much everybody got a piece of the pie. Not everybody was happy, but I would have liked to have seen the Paris Fish Hatchery get funding. But the Parks Board had two major funding proposals in front of them that they requested. One was the Dragon Trail and the other one was the Fish Hatchery. And against my better judgment, they voted against me to do the Dragon Trail. So hopefully next year we can address the hatchery.
So Randy, this is something that will occur every year. I mean, it might not be this much money, but
Yeah, it depends on how many licenses and how much funding is available through taxes. And the city gets the identical amount as the county, 800. Sure, sure. I'll make sure you get a copy. All right? Any other questions?
You said there's some of the fair, that's for youth programs?
Yep,
Excellent.
yep, $125,000.
Excellent.
That was one of the larger outreach with that one, and $120,000 for a single brine program for the county, and then the Dragon Trail was the other big one. So anyway, that's how they split the pie up. Thank you. That's it.
All right, thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we can go down the list then. Carly Groves, the first.
Partly because it's intimidating standing up and speaking out when I have seen how people who are pro-Gotion have been treated by what would be called a hostile crowd with invited outside influence. I went over some of the recorded tapes, and it takes real leadership to endure what you have experienced. That is probably why you were voted to office, because the people in Green Township believed in you and knew that you could handle hard decisions. I have been saddened by how fast some of those opposed to Gotion project went on personal attacks against you. Lively debate is good, but many of the citizens for this project have been cautious as to get into the conversation publicly because of so much outside influence that has been invited in. I am not the only one that feels this way, not by a long shot. I want to thank this board for your leadership and enduring months of personal attacks while representing not only Green Township, but also representing the hope of a better future for our young families who live in the fifth poorest county in this state. All you need to do is drive around Mecosta County, and years of stagnation is there for everyone to witness. You also realize that over 6,000 of our county residents drive out of the area for better paying jobs. And when this opportunity showed itself, you welcomed it. We send our children to our excellent schools, to our university, and then watch them move away to other counties and states because we do not have enough good-paying jobs where they can make a living and purchase a home here in Mecosta County. The latest trend, according to a guest on my Band of Radio show, who has been at Manna Pantry for 23 years, is that they have couples now working full-time, coming to get food at the end of the month because they don't have enough money to purchase food. You recognize the situation of many of our local families and didn't squander the opportunity for a better future and a new technology that is here to stay well into the future. While all of us have been pointing fingers at each other, some sharing conspiracy theories and outright falsehoods, you have kept your steady leadership. If I've heard it once, I've heard it a million times. All of you have signed NDAs for this project. That was a falsehood. I have heard people scream at you for saying Gotion will not pay taxes, another falsehood. They will pay the tax on all current and future school bonds. Since I have to make this a little bit shorter, I will just say, my wish is that somehow all of us could learn to listen when people speak instead of interrupt and scream. My wish is that when someone mouths a filthy comment to you that starts planning for a better future with great leaders that they already have put in place. Thank you for your service for our communities.
Like the nice comment the insurance staff made last meeting, please, you take, everybody take their turn, please. Eli, Walter?
Good evening, members of the board. I would like to thank you for your continued service and support in helping grow the community. Every one of you on this board has done and demonstrated what it means to work together. To the opponents of this project, the threats and name-calling towards the members of this board is unacceptable. Realize that the board cannot stop this factory from coming, so the threats and violence against them need to stop. Now, the threats are no longer on just members of the board, but members of the community as well as businesses in the area. This country was founded on democracy, freedom, and individuals with different ideas coming together as one. The success and growth that this factory will bring is 2,300 high-paying jobs. These types of jobs will allow families to improve their living conditions, children who no longer have to leave home because they cannot get a good job, mom-and-pop shops who will finally be able to stay open because of the economic benefits. Education opportunities for our children will grow, and other businesses who will be able to hire more staff because of the financial benefits. I could go on all night. Every one of you sitting in those chairs are amazing people and are going to be remembered as the ones who turned this area around and made something better for our children. The change can be scary, but it's something we face every day. We are all different, and from here on out, we need to work together as a community to make sure that we're getting the best out of this project. Despite what some of you might think, we're not going to be taken over by China because nobody would allow that to happen. If we can regulate the safety and materials to build these components, we should jump on that. So let the professionals handle it and trust in their abilities. I wasn't going to write a poem, but I have time, so here it is. Roses are red, violets are blue. Some want Gotion, I sure do. Thank you for this time and effort and help with this transaction. Let's build this. Thank you.
So first I want to say I do not agree with these signs that are behind me. On September 26th, I attended a meeting and watched the excitement as community members spoke about Gotion and the opportunity that it would provide for upgrades in infrastructure, education, opportunity to support our auto industry with higher wage jobs and benefits for our citizens. That night, both townships in the county approved the Renaissance Zone. Prior to the vote, much like what we saw here tonight, it was announced that Green Charter trustee Dale Jernstedt had property inside the proposed Ren Zone and that he recused himself from that vote, which he did, and no one in that room that night had any issues with the fact that he was selling his property. The divisiveness of this project was created by its politicalization. We have entered the QAnon realms of WEF, conspiracy theories of a Chinese takeover, and completely unsubstantiated attacks of collusion and fraud against not only this board, but fellow citizens. It is negligible that opponents of the project have used media to push an agenda that Gotion is purchasing pristine farmland, when in fact they wanted to purchase the empty, for 20 years, Big Rapids Township Industrial Park and land already zoned industrial in Green Township. As a matter of fact, Mecosta County's own master plan specifically calls out that these areas be used for industrial purpose. The concerns to ensure mitigation of environmental opportunities is very viable. And the way to do this is with sincere teamwork. To foreshadow disasters without proof is manipulative. Environmental impact studies are not required in most projects, and they were not required for this one. However, permits cannot be signed off until the plans meet the rules of the state. I want to apologize to this board for the verbal attacks that you have faced, for the false accusations thrown at you. There's not one person on this board who does not care about the community, just like there's really not one person in this room that doesn't care about the community. Each of us have different opinions, and we must determine what we feel is best for the community. I understand that there will be people that's going to continue to try to stop Gotion, and that's okay. But it's also time to understand that this board does not have the ability to do so. The township does not own the land, so there will be no vote. The progress towards building the plant continues, and time will come when this community is going to need to decide to work together to ensure that it receives all the benefits of this project and mitigate concerns or continue to spiral into the depths of division. Who we are will say a lot about what we do. Thank you.
Green Charter Township, Mecosta County, and West Central Michigan has the greatest economic opportunity since the lumber boom of the 1800s. We should not squander this opportunity. And why we are here is to discuss the future of this area. We're tied up in things like Chinese laws supplanting our laws, as if China can come here and make their law our law. It's ridiculous. It's never happened before in the history of the United States, and it will never happen now. Stick the course and do what you've done well as the board members here, and looking forward to what is the best opportunity we're ever going to have. Thank you.
Kelly Cushway, Ash Drive, Green Township. First and foremost, I've never been for the Gotion project and never will be. There's lots of reasons beyond the environmental and CCP concerns, but I'd like to speak to another issue tonight. Second, I'm disappointed that you didn't get back with me after I sent emails to you this morning and this afternoon. I was looking for information out of the folders. That's all public information. There's nothing in there that should be hidden, but you chose not to get back with me. I asked Jim and Janet for that information in the board packet notebook. It was probably put together today, so it wouldn't have been that much tougher to make another copy for me, but it didn't happen. Number 3, and this is my biggest concern of many that I have right now. I'm very concerned about a for-profit company operating out of the basement using hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of township-owned towers to generate revenue for themselves each month. Those towers belong to the residents of Green Township. We paid for them. The name of the company is Internet Services, Inc., ISI for short. I was on the township board for 4 years, and during that time, I never saw a nickel paid to the township for the use of all that infrastructure. They have a key to this building, and they come and go as they please. They don't pay for a roof over their network operations center that's in the basement. That's right, they're in the basement. They don't even pay normal overhead. They don't pay for a roof. They don't pay for air conditioning. They don't pay for heat. They have access to township computers, township bathrooms, and township phones, etc. This is all overhead that any other company would have to pay for. They control what antennas go on the township towers. They determine what the cost will be to attach those antennas. And they alone determine what it will cost their customers. Jim will tell you that they provide internet to township residents, but they're doing way more than that. They also have commercial accounts out of the area. That's right, out of Green Township, not even close by. Essentially, Jim is their lapdog. ISI tells Jim what they need, and we, the township residents, buy it for them. I'm going to have a lot of questions going forward, so Jim, you can start worrying. And Steve right over here, the camera guy, he can start worrying. He is ISI. Thank you.
Significant expense to maintain it, which we do not see any expense on that. ISI provides services, maintains those towers, in return for the usage. Okay. Next person, Tracy Thalen.
For the EV component plant. This project brings growth and opportunity to Mecosta County and puts the industrial property that has long sat vacant at the southern end of Green Township. I can tell you that people all over the state have worked tirelessly to support this project. Countless hours have been spent on research and planning to see this project succeed. Countless more will bring it to reality. I'd like to thank the Green Township Board, along with the Right Place, MEDC, and the state of Michigan for your support of this monumental project. As this project moves forward, it is my hope that in the years we learn more, we improve the process, and we refine the technology. Personally, 10 years ago, if you told me I would be mowing my lawn with a battery-powered mower, I would have laughed. Yes, I mow my own lawn. And I have a battery-powered motor that's rechargeable, and I love it. The battery-powered blower, the battery-powered other yard utensils, but who knew what technology would bring? Technology evolves, and so must people. EV will have a place and a purpose in the future, and it starts here. It starts now, and Green Township will lead the way. Thank you again for your time and your faithful support.
Short and sweet. Hello, Green Township Board members. Good evening. First, just wanted to apologize on behalf of my fellow Big Rapids Township constituents for the behavior that I've seen exhibited at you or toward you from our own board members right in Big Rapids Township. The 48% of us that our board excused themselves from representing with the survey that they spent our money to manufacture, resent that behavior. Secondly, I'd like to personally thank you for the way that you've carried yourselves as you've navigated the last few months. It takes some grit and fortitude to gut through what you have and stand by your convictions. And I admire you for doing that. That being said, I wanted to take a personal opportunity to thank each one of you individually. Jim, thank you. Janet, thank you. Denise, thank you. Roger, thank you. Dale, thank you. Gary Todd, thank you. Whatever follows, and I'm sure we're all going to find some things that we would have done differently. You're going to be vindicated in all this, and you'll be remembered for doing a great thing for your constituents. Have a good night.
My name is Brenda Hall. I live here in Paris. I have attended many Green Township board meetings in the past, including this last June board meeting. I want to go on record to say that I am in opposition to the Gotion battery plant coming into Green Township, along with most of the other Green Township residents. I'd like to speak tonight on the subject matter of Robert's Rules of Order pertaining to discipline. They are there to provide a guidance of procedures to follow and to keep a safe and civil meeting for all to attend. This area is explicitly discussed in Chapter 15 of the rules. I have a handout for each of you in its entirety of Chapter 15. I would like to speak of an instance of last month's meeting. It was when a public comment was made by Tanya Wright addressing Mr. Chapman's Facebook posting of my friend Lisa Tolles. After Tanya read this posting to all, Mr. Jernstadt called her the B word right here in the meeting as she walked past him to her seat. There was an uproar in the audience, and Mr. Chapman called all order to come and take place. However, no board member here called Mr. Jernstadt out on his wrong actions or for his wrongdoing. Clearly in the rules, there are steps that are spelled out that should be taken when wrongdoing such as this happens. It would behoove yourselves to be up to speed on how to handle these egregious actions. No woman should be treated this way in a public forum by a board member representing our community. Mr. Jernstadt made it a corrupt and dirtied it to a very low level for not just Tanya, but for all women here in this community. And this must not be tolerated. I implore each of you to verse yourselves in conducting yourselves to a higher regard for the positions you serve in your community and in your role to each other here in this capacity. Now, on another note, I see the banners of years of service that are displayed in our township. Thank you all for your service, for all of you. And for those that have served in the military, thank you so much for your service for our country. Roger, I know you are one of them. In closing, I just want to reiterate that you need to treat people with dignity that they deserve, even if we just disagree on small things and this very large issue like Gotion. Thank you for your time. And please accept it. Please accept these in the honor and in the way that they're given here for you to just please read the rules.
I apologize for not getting the looks on jar. So the address on 21285 North Strip.
That's me, Joe Person.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. You're stuck with handwriting like mine.
I used to be a draftsman, so I print better than I write. First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I've also witnessed all the back and forth of the project. I think the project, I'm a fan of the project. I worked in industry for 40 years, worked in manufacturing plants. I'm familiar with all the rules and regulations that go in place, that are in place to protect communities from pollution. I also was downsized at the end of my career after 40 years because the company I worked for disbanded. The company had been in business for 75 years, and a lot of the work went to China. So this is an opportunity for our community to bring some jobs back, some stability to communities, to make a better place for our children to live. I lived in and worked in Grand Rapids, a very diverse city that continues to flourish because of their diversity and the diversity of the people and the diversity of the industries. And I think it's a real sad day in our country where we seem to be
so against the other. And we're witnessing it here in our own community. So I trust the board, I trust the state of Michigan and all the things that we have in government to protect us. And again, I thank you for your time.
Debbie Todd?
I have a couple things I'd like to say to you guys tonight. First of all, I am curious if you guys made the same offer of the deal to the local businesses that you did to Gotion for the 30-year tax abatement and for a piece of the taxpayer-funded billion-dollar pie that the state's giving out. And if you didn't offer it to our local businesses for expansion and job creation, it begs the question, why? Did you offer that same deal to any other Michigan companies to come into this area? If not, why? And my last question is, I know, Jim, that you were before the legislature and you told them that 95% of the constituents of Green Charter Township are in favor of Gotion, and you have reiterated that sentiment many times since. So I guess that begs the question, why are you fighting the recall so hard? Because if you have all the support that you talk about, it should be a slam dunk for you. So I would ask you to, instead of just talk the talk, walk the walk to back up the talk. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Board. I'm here. I was hoping for questions, but we can't. So my comments are primarily on the Planning Commission referendum that you have already proposed, and I have a lot of concerns that I'd like everyone in here to start looking at the concerns on this, because at the current point of your referendum is for you to be primarily in charge of the 5 people that are going to rezone all our properties here and agricultural areas to make it industrially effective. You're the only one involved in the decision of the people that are going to make these decisions. So I'm saying it right now from reading your referendum, you're the only one that's in charge of this whole thing. And so you can talk to us later, but I'd really like everyone to read that referendum, because there isn't anybody in control but you. And that's strange. Why would that be? You guys aren't even involved in it. None of you are in that to determine what's going to be chosen for our community in all that agricultural area that's going to maybe become an industrial area. So we have no control over that except for what we turned into you, Janet. And that, Janet, is, we aren't going to get answers from it. I haven't heard a thing, but we turned in over twice what we needed for the referendum on a vote for this project, okay? And you've told us many times, me at least many times, why are you bothering? It's already over with. It isn't, because they're going to need a lot more land than what you're giving them right now. So I'm just making a point that we really need to look into what's happening down the road, because none of you are involved and only you. So I respect you, Jim. I just don't know why you think you're the only one to answer these questions. Thank you for your time.
That board, as it is set up, is set up by state law, as the same as it is currently in McCosk Township, as it currently is in Big Rapids Township, as it currently is in Morton Township, and I don't entirely control that board. Okay? I understand you are concerned about Gotion. Please understand there are a number of issues within our community. Do we want solar farms? Do we want wind turbine parks? Do we want tiny homes? Do we want short-term rentals? These are all issues.
I extend you my time. Please answer.
My point being, those are all issues that need to be handled. Well, Green Township needs to discuss and be handled by Green Township residents.
Yes, by residents, yes, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Rhonda? Is it Pruitt?
Lange. L-A-N-G-E.
Oh, I see what it is, that's the end, I'm sorry.
Yep.
My apologies.
Yep.
Go right ahead.
Okay, I'm just going to read some facts that anybody can research. I've done my research till the cows come home. The first facts are from the New Jersey Right to Know regarding lithium carbonate. Lithium carbonate is a teratogen. It has been known to cause malformations in embryos. Inhalation can cause nose, throat, and lung irritation with coughing and shortness of breath, pulmonary edema, headache, muscle twitching, confusion, and seizures, and in extreme cases, coma. What are the maximum occupational exposure limits? No occupational exposure limits have been established. This is very concerning, especially when we look at other materials used in the past in manufacturing that now have been proven to cause serious health conditions. Asbestos is a good example of one. Can lithium carbonate catch on fire? Yes. If this happened, lithium carbonate would release poisonous gases such as lithium oxides. The minimum isolation distance if a fire were to happen is 1/2 mile. Can lithium carbonate harm wildlife? Yes. Studies have been conducted and concluded that the lithium carbonate is harmful to aquatic life and can cause death, stunt growth, and affect reproduction. And you can look it up yourself, New Jersey Right to Know, at least they're transparent. Now, on some of the other things, I've looked up Gotion, I've researched them, I've been to websites in China, okay? Gotion's president did hold office, a government office. When he left that government office, he got a grant from the government to start Gotion. Gotion High Tech. This is the China-based one. His son has held a government office. So to think that the CCP has no hold on them whatsoever when the parent company was started with funds from the CCP is absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely.
And I just want to add, well, my train of thought, I'm sorry. Talking about the poverty level in Mecosta County. Yes, it does show Mecosta County. I've had a lot of experience lately with the census data from 2020, and it shows that in Mecosta County, those that are below the poverty line, the majority of those are age 65 and above, and then 18 to 24 range. Those are ones making less than $40,000 a year. When you take into consideration when the census data is done, it's where their place of residence is. Is that me? Okay. So when you look at those 18 to 24-year-olds, it's probably going to be mostly college students. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to college just to work in a factory. I actually left the factory to go to college so I could get out of the factory. Right. Thank you.
Hello. I'm going to say this speech not only on behalf of me talking, but also for my son. And my son Dalton says, why would our board members or anybody put words in our mouth assuming that we automatically want to work in a factory for the rest of our life? He says, I like the way that you were raised, Mom. You got to grow up on your grandpa's farm, your Uncle Gary's farm. He says, I want to do stuff like that. He says, and all the kids that I know from in our family, they all think the same as well. He loves to do stuff like that. And he says, he's wondering, how much do you guys really care about your constituents? Do you ever stop to think that, our upsetness, that we really have a basis to be upset on? Or do you just automatically assume that we have no reason to be upset? With that, I'm going to go into mine. So last month, we had a issue at the end of mine, speaking. And yes, Mr. Dernstead did call me a B. In response back, I said, F you. He then repeated it. But I won't deny it. You can look at the film. You're going to see me, but you're not going to see Dernstead. But I know what I saw. But I want to know, why is it okay for people who is for Gotion or a part of your all family, but they can step out of line and they don't get told to leave? If one of us, who is your constituents, step out of line, we get told to leave or the meeting gets shut down. And I don't know as if that is really fair and everything. I think a lot of things could have been done better toward the whole board with their constituents to be more transparent with us, as I have spoke. And I am against Gotion in a big way. Our lightning bugs are becoming endangered. And I realize a lot of people don't stop to think about insects, but our birds, there's a lot of trees over there that the birds do make their nest in, such as our bald eagle, and they do have nests around there. How much longer?
15 seconds.
Okay, so they have the bald eagles, they have nests over there. There is also a family of black bear that roam from 20 Mile across, and they go off into another patch of woods over by like 18 Mile. And then they'll come back through. And what's going to happen to all of them? What's going to happen to our aquifer that's over there in that region? Or how about our cattail that we're supposed to be protecting? You can do so much as far as... Okay, so to summarize, I just want to say that I think it would be nice if we become more serious into the regards of the children and the animals that live in the wilderness. Thank you.
Lori? Rob?
First, I just want to clarify a few things for a lot of people that haven't been here. Jim Chapman went after Lisa Tolles because she said that she didn't agree with Gotion, and he said that she could disappear like Jimmy Hoffa. That's a threat. I think that's awful. I'm disgusted with the board. I'm disgusted with a lot of the things that you've said. You said that my property was zoned industrial. You talk about people coming at you. You've been one of the worst ones, Jim. Absolutely lies, trying to discredit people. Your meetings are ridiculous. You're keeping them private. Anyway, agreement with Gotion against our wishes. You know the community does not support this. You know over 80% of this community doesn't want it. Mecosta County doesn't want it. All of the other counties that have taken their polls don't want this here, yet you guys continue to push it through when we don't want it. We have official polls done by different supervisors. We don't want it. What we're saying right now, if you do this and you make an agreement that goes beyond your term, which is about to end, we have over 750 signatures, more than we needed for the original recalls. Yours is coming up now. We just started today. While knowing that you're being recalled on this matter, it is unethical and very possibly illegal to move forward with any negotiations. Just know that when you are replaced, we will pursue every legal remedy against each and every one of you personally, because you know what you're doing is wrong. You know that we don't agree to this. You know the community doesn't back you, and you guys have lied about it nonstop, and you've harassed people that go against you. You have threatened people that go against you. That is wrong. That is not the way leadership goes. You are all being recalled because of the choices that you've made. The recalls have all been turned in today, and like I said, we've had well over 750 extra signatures, and we had more than two weeks to collect them. We could have gotten way more, but we didn't need them. We're done, and it shows the community doesn't back you guys. I'm against all of you. I'm ashamed of every one of you, and it just disgusts me that you keep pushing this forward when you know that this is not wanted here. This company is not wanted. And Chapman, on the other thing, when you sent out that letter stating that the community should back and put money toward this because of the lack of sewer bill, there was money put aside to make that sewer bill, to fix it and to obtain it. I'm disgusted and with your mismanagement that you want to sell us out to the CCP. That's all I have to say.
For those who were not aware, the original estimate was $600,000 to replace the lift station. The board had a professional financier come in, look at it, and say you can finance it yourself, you're good to go. So we started the process to get that done. The time of year required, then all the contracts would be tied up. And then by the time we could get to it, inflation had kicked in and that price went to $800,000, which was beyond what this board had available, which meant we had to finance it. By the time we were able to start lining up some of the issues on finance, the cost inflation kicked in again and took it to $1.2 million. As the treasurer's report was this month, there are $608,000 in that sewer fund. That's after we started to do different price increases trying to build towards the amount. So that's where we set. We set with $600,000. We have been informed by our auditor in multiple occasions that we have to be very careful on how we have any more in our funds, because if we get too high, the state will come in and order a tax reduction and forcibly reduce our reserves. And so we took it as high as we thought we could within the parameters allowed as allowed by by recommendation of our auditors. And now we face a $600,000 fund, which is all we get with the auditors, and a $1.2 million bill. So that's where that stands. You can judge propriety as you wish. Kathy, is it funny?
Yes, sir.
All right, man.
Yes, sir.
Well, this is pretty interesting, I have to say, because what I had chosen to say is very fitting. And I had been praying for wisdom and discernment, and what I should say, I've been here several times. My first thing I was going to say was I was happy to see some pro-Gotion people here. I wanted to hear their side. I wanted to hear their opinions, and I wanted to correct the record on a couple things. And right before I get up here, they leave. I think this is kind of interesting. So thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for that direction. I wanted to correct the wrong narrative that I have been watching. I have been trying to pay attention. I have been trying to be discerning. I've been trying to listen. I've been doing my research. This group is pro-America, pro-business, pro-God, pro-Green Township and Michigan. There are veterans. There are business owners here. There are people like me that have lived here our entire lives. We very much care. I would much rather be, and I've said this before, in my lily garden than in here. I have not been involved. So when I was called a professional protester, I thought that was pretty funny, because at 57, it was the first time I ever protested. I thought that was quite interesting. I think I want to say something. My nephew was on the pro-Gotion side. He spoke. He was the young man who spoke. And you know what? I'm pretty proud of him for at least having an opinion. It's okay. I can be on the opposite side of this. But he's a young man, and he said, and this is very interesting, that I have a family member. He said the CCP, China's not going to do anything. Has anybody ever heard of Neville Chamberlain? Has anybody ever read the paper about the Titanic? Even God couldn't sink the Titanic? Do we dare speak such a thing? We've done our research. I have some great people behind me that have worked hard. There are people who have researched diligently and deeply. You are not sure. You are not sure. And neither are we. And that's why we question it. Why did I get involved? Because I heard 95% of Green Township was for this. And I wanted to know. I wasn't sure. I said if they did, they did. But I did not come to that conclusion when I did my due diligence as a citizen. I asked people, I talked. I picked up the phone and talked to Jerry Garner. I picked up the phone and talked to many people. I did my due diligence way back in March. I came to this meeting because I wanted to know something. And I felt like you want to know why you're being recalled. And Mr. Todd, I graduated with your son, and I love him dearly. I do care about you all. You want to know why you're recalled? Because March, when I came here, I didn't know what I was going to come into. I heard 95%. You did not listen. The next day, you went down to the appropriations. I was shocked. I felt like this is my community. You're going to listen to us. You're going to say, oh, wait a minute. Maybe we got a bunch of people here that never showed up before. These are my neighbors. We need to take a break. We need to talk about this. We need to answer their questions. You didn't do it. You didn't do it. That's what I'm saying. You wondered why you were recalled. It's happening. We are concerned about the CCP, and you can't guarantee. And you know what? They said history is going to be showing. Yes. Our grandchildren. They're talking about money and jobs. Money and jobs. And we're talking about security. We're talking about security and future for our grandchildren. Good job.
So it's funny to get up here and see that all the sheep have gone and left. Blindly follow whatever, right? How does it feel to be among the most despised people in all of Green Township?
Yeah.
How does it feel? Pretty crappy, I would assume. I'd be pretty worried if I was sitting where you guys are sitting. Yep, I'd be worried. You know why? Because you're subverting the will of your constituents. You didn't do your job to make sure that we were on board with it.
We didn't know.
And now here you are being attacked. You wouldn't be attacked if you would have just talked to your constituents.
That's right.
But you didn't. You subverted the will of your constituents. That's why you're being recalled. You can no longer be trusted to do your jobs.
Right.
We're sitting here trying to figure out how to stop this nightmare of a plant from coming into our backyard, sitting on our water right now. They're trying to take our water. What do you think this is going to do to the water table?
They don't care.
They don't care.
They're moving out.
No, they don't care. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. Ashamed of yourselves. I'd be scared shitless if I was in your seats right now.
Good evening, Jeff Thorne. Live on New Costa Avenue in Green Township. I am a Green Township resident for the last almost 40 years, 39 years. So first of all, I'd actually like to thank you. I'd like to thank the board here for really, and you're going, what? Jeff's up there thanking us? I wasn't sitting in the back row, no. Thanking you for bringing this community together.
Right.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Because of your position in local township government, you have brought this community, you've taught us what it's like and what it should be like, and actually what it shouldn't be like to lead in a township. You are elected officials to represent, and you have not represented it. And that's why all these people are out here. You have not represented us, the people. You don't know your constituents. You guys lived here, farmed here, all this kind of stuff, and you don't know. Dale, I lived across the street from you for 10 years when you had a thriving dairy farm. What the hell happened? Huh? And now you're going to just make money off selling your land to foreign entities.
Yep.
whatever. I'd like to thank the Gotion people. They left here, and I really wanted to know how many of them are from Green Township, but I can't take a survey. Okay. 5 of them are from Green Township. I wonder if, anyway, I won't go into it. So anyway, I'd like to move on to the next point and just comment about the wonderful public service signs that you guys have posted around town with showing all your wonderful years of public service. Okay, and just like you didn't survey the township as far as how many people were for this, you didn't survey or bother to find out how many of us had public service. My name is up there and it says 0. I'm not sure what the question mark is about. I'm not really sure who paid for that or whatever. I'm not even going to get into that, my own tax dollars. But I served on a public school board for 10 years. That's a bold-faced lie up there. Okay, I'm not here to brag about what I've done, but I'm just here to correct the thing. I served on the advisory board for the, for the Salvation Army for 3 years. Okay, that is volunteer public service. Just like in a lot of other things, you don't have your facts straight. Okay, and I am looking into legal action pending defamation of character and liability for those signs that you put up around the sign.
Absolutely.
The only way we're fighting this thing is through the legal recourse that we have available, and you have brought that to our attention. So I thank you. I hope you have a good ride on this board, Ms. Rasmussen. I was going to thank Randy Vetter, but apparently he couldn't stay. He's our representative for our township. Randy recently publicly said, if this doesn't happen, if Gotion doesn't come here in 25 years, poof, we're going to dry up and blow away. Do you know that, Big Rapids?
Oh, my God.
It's going to be gone 25 years, okay, if he doesn't say that. I will, Jim. So lastly, what I'd like to say is, and I made a comment some months ago, and it's coming to fruition, enjoy your time here, your weeks or your months or whatever you guys have left, because as you know, a full-blown recall is underway. Okay, we have well exceeded the will of the people of what is required, and you're going to be on. You probably should take them from your senior member. Many of you probably should just go ahead and step down now, like Jim did, and get out of this. Okay, and get rid of your headaches, because you're being recalled. You're going to vote out, and people are going to come in here who live here, who love this and want this, and are going to lead this township correctly in this township and in this county. Thank you.
Gary Benedict, Green Township. I'm not a great speaker. I know you researched the library benefits and proposals. You researched the internet, but I haven't heard a lot of research on this Gotion. And my wife has done a lot of research on Gotion, and nobody can deny that it is part of the CCP.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
One thing I want to do is thank, again, as Jeff did, thank the board for bringing us together.
Yeah, that's right.
I was at the last Big Rapids Township meeting, and I wish they were still here because not one of them was at the township meeting. And on the record, one of the members on the board at the meeting said he wished he would have researched more. They couldn't rescind their agreement to have a Renaissance zone. Well, it's legally, they can't do it. Their lawyer's looking into what they can do. The first meeting was here. I brought up the 715 or 750,000 gallons of water, and Big Rapids has 2 wells. Each of them have that capacity. What if one breaks? No response. 2 weeks later, Gotion's going to drill their own. Well, the water's still coming out of the ground. And I asked at the next meeting, where's this water going to go? You answered it tonight. There's going to be a cooling tower.
Another.
Has anybody been to 3 Mile Island? Fukushima? I mean, it's just a cooling tower. These chemicals and nuclear power, nothing can go wrong. So I suppose lithium, nothing can go wrong too. And as far as I guess there isn't anybody on the board that has family members that they've lost in World War I, World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War. I have a question for you, Roger. Do you trust the Chinese?
He doesn't. That's not.
And you think they're going to follow all of our rules? The only thing I can say is I do like to joke also, but as Smokey Bear would say, Jim, only you can prevent Gotion.
Well, Jim, it smells like AstroTurf. Well, I was going to say it smells like AstroTurf in here, but all the AstroTurf just rolled out. I'm really sorry that you didn't get more friends to come to your party today. I really hate it when that happens, when not as many people show up as you wanted to. I actually wanted to talk about Facebook today. As you know, Jim, I'm not on Facebook, but I know plenty of folks who are. It's come to my attention that you in particular spend a great deal of time arguing about Gotion with people on Facebook and grandstanding about your service to the community. As for myself, while not spending time arguing with you and Tracy and Carly and Tim and the other AstroTurfers who were here on Facebook, I have actually been working my buns off in real life every day to make this community a better place. In fact, I have brought with me here today an incomplete list of things that I have done over the last month for the betterment of the community. Are you ready? Incomplete list, just cursory. I incorporated the Economic Development Responsibility Alliance of Michigan with the state and registered for IDRA's 501c4 nonprofit designation. I have vetted legal representation. I held 2 board meetings. I spoke with the Muskegon River Watershed Alliance's board at their monthly meeting about the very serious environmental concerns Gotion poses to our watershed. I connected with community members who are dealing with taxpayer-funded economic development abuse across the state who are ready to ally with Big Rapids. I called for Randy Thalen of the Right Place's resignation in person in Lansing at the MEDC's MSF board meeting at 9 o'clock in the morning. I planned and successfully executed a statewide rally on the steps of the Capitol in Lansing on Tuesday, June 27th, which was attended by 5 different communities across the state: Big Rapids, Marshall, Mundy, Eagle Township, and yes, even our neighbors in Detroit, believe it or not. I published 4 press releases. I've spent hours talking to journalists. I opened a P.O. box. I planned community protest rallies, the kind which will celebrate and appreciate both the military service and patriotism of our community and the beauty of our abundant water. I collected data about the Mundy and Eagle megasites and added in-depth pages about them to IDRA's website. I wrote and published a 3,500-word investigative essay into the environmental hazards of EV battery and semiconductor manufacturing plants, such as the MEDC proposes to fill Michigan's farmland with. I have had dozens of hours of conversations with concerned citizens and resident activists like me from across the state. And I have worked with my community members to lay the foundation for actionable, citizen-led economic development plans which would bolster our agricultural community, create genuinely good jobs, and help to alleviate food insecurity across the state, plans which we will execute. And I have created social media accounts for IDRA on Instagram, LinkedIn, and yes, even on Facebook, Jim. While you've been crafting zingers and nastygrams on Facebook, that's what I'm getting to, Jim. While you've been crafting zingers and nastygrams on Facebook to support your petty power tripping and profiteering, I've been actually working to make a brighter future for my community. Turns out you can get a lot done when you're not spending all day arguing on Facebook. I really recommend taking a break from social media and walking by the river. It'd be good for your mental health.
Good job. Yeah.
Lies about the community are desperate attempts to divide us. We, the people of this great nation, state, and Paris, Michigan, did not get escorted off Lansing State Capitol. If anyone can prove this, show your evidence. I was in Lansing, peaceful no Gotion protest. I watched MEDC's meeting and spoke. The only crimes I saw was the millions of taxpayer dollars being funneled out for smart apartments, one with now hardly any parking, and would be too expensive for them in that community. For the people to rent. This is in Grand Rapids, Muskegon, Petoskey. Things going on for money for Detroit with no property for the proposed money coming in. Our tax dollars are being spent as fast as possible to rush the green hoax. Right. Now let's get to what this passion of the real people of this community is about. The children. That means their future, environment, and their freedoms. To own a farm or anything they want to be. Factory work does not support families. I told you that the first time I spoke. The incomes are decreasing. The benefits are decreasing. Not in this community or many other communities can support by factory work. I watched Ohio go from promised wages of $20+ to $14 per hour, a China-ran factory, glass plant, no real benefits. They were interviewing the employees, and there was a secret camera inside the board meeting, watching them display how they don't want to help us at all, and they were enjoying the fact that you can barely get by on their factory money. They were fighting a union there. A governor got up and spoke for it. This is a small picture of what's really happening across the country and here. The people of this community are survivors of a very broken system by government overreach, pushing through trillions of taxpayer dollars that only benefit the wealthy. Look up Edra of Michigan. Look up Detroit, Marshall, Monday, Eagle. The communities are growing. More sick of government overreach, telling us what to accept is done. Grand Forks won against the CCP plan, and we will win for our children. The vision of the true residents and tourists to see for our children is a lot more community events, beautification, community gardens to represent the beautiful agriculture here, small businesses thriving, fishing, hunting, camping, tubing, walks in the beautiful forest, nature, not a 15-minute city, contaminating factories, franchises, keep Paris small, no franchises, keep Paris small town country life. Yes. Yeah.
My name is John Holsworth. I'm from Green Township. I didn't come with prepared marks tonight. I, at the last minute, decided to come. I heard them say that this is zoned, the pro-Gotion say this is zoned for industrial. The correct word is for light industrial. When we're talking about the money that they're going to pay these people, I have some really strong questions as I'm reading about UAW negotiations on some of these battery factories, people making 19, 22 bucks an hour. And the claims that they're going to make 61,000, then it was to 52, then to 45. I just don't really quite believe those numbers very much. I've worked in manufacturing for darn near 45 years. I've seen a lot of what goes on. I've met a lot of people. I see the EV batteries, as I've looked into this, the lithium is terrible for our environment. Okay? We have, the state of Michigan is 21% of the fresh water. Okay? They just came out with PFAS studies. Okay, we're not in that area of the PFAS. Half the wells in the United States have PFAS in them. We are the solution underneath of us. But if we bring in lithium, they say, oh, nothing can happen. Well, let me remind you of 1973, St. Louis, Michigan, Vesical Chemical. They had a white powder that looked the same. One was a cattle feed, one was the PBB, and we had the environmental disaster. We have such a rich aquiferic resource here, and we could very well screw this up. Our governor sat there with Edenville. Took it out of the budget. She was made to put it back in. But then the Attorney General said, no, you can't lower that level. The dam broke, and the damn thing still broke today. So we have the futures. For me, I've only got so many years on this earth. I'm looking for the future of this community. When I hear people say, well, the factories will have to then pay better money and stuff. This just happened Thursday to me, okay? This is really, I pointed out with what the other ones are paying and stuff in other areas and how it's becoming a thing where even the UAW says we're not going to support Joe Biden until we get what we need, okay? So I said, that's really kind of funny because I know a ground floor worker at one of the places you were saying, he's making $80,000 a year. And he's not above the ground floor level, okay? You've got good paying jobs here. It's just finding good people to fill those up because our education is not as good as what somebody said. My closing words, I would take the words of Mike Huckabee as he took a British theologian, Fuller. We do not understand the value of water until the well runs dry. Thank you.
My name's Todd McLean, and I'm from Big Rapids. Clarify something. A lot of people defend China. They say that they're not our enemy, and yet the government says that Russia is our enemy. We're putting $130 billion into a war in Ukraine to fight a country that is probably not anywhere near as dangerous on a military level or a technological level as China is. And yet, so many people that were here tonight implicitly trust the communist Chinese because some of them said they implicitly trust the government. They completely trust their government. I don't. I have books just on history in my basement in the bookcases. I've studied Hitler's Germany. I've studied Stalin's Soviet Union. I've studied Mao's China. They are evil. They're all the same. And there is no way on God's green earth that the CCP is not involved in Gotion. No business in Nazi Germany during World War II could do anything without Adolf Hitler's permission. Nobody in Stalin's Soviet Union could do anything without Stalin's permission. No one in Mao's China and no one in Chairman Xi's China can do anything without his permission. That's clarified. That is the truth. They are not our friend. And I just want to say something personally. In 2019, I got Lyme disease. I had to quit working. It affected all my joints. It got into my immune system. It's given me fibromyalgia, so I have pain. I had to sell my cabin. I had to sell my house in Grand Rapids. And I moved up here. This was supposed to be my retirement home. I have 8 acres, and I live in Big Rapids Township, and this was going to be my retirement home. If the shit hits the fan here, and we have water contamination, anything, I don't have the money or the muscle to move again. I'm stuck here. I hope you board members, that's all.
Well, let me collect myself from crying for him for a second.
I know.
Yeah.
That's right. It is sad.
You know?
Cowards up there.
Yeah, everywhere, right? Okay, well, as you can hear from everybody and all them people that left, they want to talk about how they've been silenced, but I think everybody here knows that Carlene Rose has been involved in this from the very beginning. She's been very out loud spoken and proud about Gotion from the very beginning, and all of them have. They've all been argumentative. They've all fallen into it just as much as everybody else has. So, and when she wants to bring up NDAs, the reason why is maybe her own personal guilt for the NDA that she took and signed for the president of Ferris, Bill Pink. She had to sign one for that. So let's just move on, okay? You guys, why would you all be in favor of this with no environmental impact statement? Tracy Robinson Rule wants to say that it's not needed for this, but why? Why would anybody say it's not needed for this? The air we breathe, the soil, the water, all of it can be contaminated. They want to talk about our children and what they need. How about self-sustainability? How about teaching them to thrive for themselves? That's right. For what we need to survive. It is not EV batteries. You guys want to talk about the lithium carbonate? Look into the graphite. Certificate coated graphite. Coated in hydrofluoric acid, battery-grade graphite is not the same as a number 2 pencil to allow you and that felon, again, to sit up here and continue to maliciously mislead an entire community. When we have to be here, we speak for the river, for the lakes, for the animals, for the trees. Do you realize what is needed to survive? Do you people? You don't. You don't. Quit bringing our children into this. Our children, and they're being attacked by all of you and everybody that's allowing this with no environmental impact statement. It needs not to go any further until we know what is being emitted, because I said it before and I'll say it again, ran to 1,000% regulations with every protocol they can put into place. It is emitting toxins and contamination and pollution into our air, soil, and water. And therefore, in return, where does that go to? Where does that lead to? Us and our children that you want to talk about and proclaim to care about. Get over your greedy selves. And in my 30 seconds, I would like to say one more thing, okay? Hate has talked so loudly for so long. Greed has talked so loudly for so long. Liars have talked so loudly for so long. Love has got to stop whispering. When you stand up and you speak loud and proud, that doesn't mean, oh, you're ignorant or you're hateful or you're spewing this or you're whatever. No. God says, I have no professionalism to hold. I have no outlook other than how I care about myself and what God deters at the end of my life. And that is what I'm sticking to. And whatever anybody wants to think, however it comes out wrong to all of you, then so fucking be it. But I am here, and I am saying, get us a goddamn environmental impact statement now.
I would like to make a comment about one of the supporters that said we were a democracy. As far as I knew, we were still a republic, America, and we're having a problem keeping it that way. I see with all the supporters leaving, it looks like the Pioneer paper left as well. That's kind of funny that we don't get our side expressed very often. I have learned that money is the root of all evils, and I think we're seeing that played out right now. Also, God has a plan, but so does the devil. And I think we're seeing the devil's plan playing out. We know China and many countries don't believe in God, and the devil's, and they're on their side. We need to make corrections. The truth always comes out. The light and the truth will always come out. I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't want to be harmed. I don't want our community harmed. We need to look at things. China and many of the people there brag about how they own America. They own our politicians. We need to stop that. Look at our own government, how much corruption is in it. It is corrupt in every level. People are selling out for money. Money is evil. Please take a deeper look at what's going on. The corruption is so deep. Good is becoming evil. Evil's becoming good. We've got to stop it. For our future, for your family future, for this world, please take a look at what's going on through the whole world. It isn't good. It's darkness coming over. America can stop it. You can help stop it. Please do.
Can we have a couple of public comments? Wait a minute.
We're up, Tyrus! Jim, you know that's wrong. You know that's wrong.
Oh, you let him do it last week?
Can I just say a couple things? Wait a minute. I wanted to say a couple things.
Dictators.
Hey, on the agenda, you forgot something.
No, I just want to say a couple things.
You forgot something on your agenda.
Jim.
The Mecosta County violations. What's that about?
Those are correspondence. Those aren't actions.
Can I?
Those are correspondence, and the board has a right to come look at them.
I just want to ask a couple. Can I ask a couple questions?
But they're
Jim,
supposed to be
let me ask a couple.
about, Jim.
Can I ask a couple questions? Just a couple questions.
See, he lets other people.
He lets.
I just want to know. Do you guys know?
People over talk, Jim.
That's okay, Rod. You sign up. Sign up.
Isn't that wrong? Isn't that illegal?
It's total